My name is Zoe Friedkin.
My name is T, or Mr. T. And actually, Zoe, I want to tell you that this is actually the 180th year of the SIU Speakers Forum. And the first forum was actually hosted by Abraham Lincoln.
Really? Where did you get that?
Some very reputable sources have told me this. The forum got started when Abe was like, hey guys, we should get together and talk about really important things.
I don't know where you might have gotten that from, but actually the Speakers Forum is a campus-wide event intended to provide SIU students with a space to publicly communicate ideas and opinions on any given topic. And we aren't in our 180th year, we're actually in our 22nd year hosting it on campus. Yeah, I know, right? Plus, the forum occurs once each semester and is sponsored by the Society for Civil Discourse and the School of Communication Studies. Yeah! Yes, clap!
Well, actually, I saw on Instagram that this is actually true. Is that a fact? Is the theme right there. Media literacy and disinformation. That's like when people say things that aren't really based on fact. How can we tell the difference, right?
Yeah, that's actually correct. Good job, T.
And these 5 incredibly smart students are going to teach us a little bit about how to see through mis and disinformation. Sounds pretty awesome, right?
Oh yeah, and wait until y'all meet the speakers for tonight. Their speeches were so good, we chose them to speak tonight. Do you mind introducing the first one, Speak?
Sure, Z. Our first speaker is Dorian Sparks. Did I get that right? Dorian is from Metropolis, which is Superman's hometown, Metropolis, Illinois. Dorian's a freshman at SIU, Southern Illinois University, majoring in healthcare management.
Yes.
Take it away, Dorian, like Superman.
No,
like Superman.
No. Come on, T. Come on.
Test. Have fun.
Thanks.
Media? Is it? Okay, sorry. Literacy within a culture is distinct because it is a challenge. Language within a culture is a challenge because it can lead to misunderstandings. We like to listen to what feels comfortable for us, or we listen because people ask us to. So I want to do an example before I start. I bought this shirt a few years ago because I like buying funny shirts and I thrift all the time, and I thought it was funny. It says, "Trust me, I'm a scientist, I know these things." Now, I want to paraphrase. I want to start by saying a few things. 1, I'm not a scientist. 2, I will never be a scientist. However, I bought the shirt because I thought it was funny. Now, I'm walking down the street and someone sees my shirt and thinks I'm an educated scientist. So they stop me and ask me a scientific question, and I have the audacity to answer the question. My language literacy got you. Now, it's a little trickier in media literacy because language literacy is face-to-face, and this is the world of URLs. Media literacy also creates culture. For the first time ever, I can comment from Southern Illinois, and someone from Timbuktu, South Africa, or anywhere can comment back. This also creates paranoia and fear, because who are we really talking to? So media influences us all today. When I wake up in the morning, I like to turn on music or I listen to a podcast. Well, media has influenced my daily life. So today, we're going to be talking about tribalism, misinformation, disinformation, and culture in media. So why do we trust people who look like us? The answer is tribalism. Tribalism was popularized by Amy Chow, who explains it as grouping together with people of your similar likeness. Now, this can include race, your sexual identity, basically anything that makes us distinct from the outside population. The problem with tribalism is we only listen to the people in our select tribe. So this leads to misinformation, because I'm only listening to people who like me or who have the similar likeness. So even if they're not telling the truth, I'm choosing to listen to them. Now, staying in the realm of tribalism, this also can lead to disinformation, which can be considered worse. This leads to fear and hysteria, because I can purposely spread misinformation in my tribe to keep my tribe together. The American Psychological Association explains misinformation as false and inaccurate info, while disinformation is false information deliberately meant to mislead. So, misinformation versus disinformation, which is better and which is worse? Well, it's not really important to try to nail down which one's worse or which one's better. It's just about how they hurt in different ways. Misinformation hurts more long term. Think of misinformation as having a deficit because you're never able to learn at all. If I'm never taught how to better myself, then I've been misinformed. Misinformation leads to, it hurts generations, it stunts growth, and maintains poverty. Like I just said, if I've never taught something, I can't teach my children, and my children can't teach their children. So that's stunted my generations, and it maintains poverty, economically speaking. Some other examples of misinformation can include technology itself. Think of algorithms, or AI. Disinformation hurts more directly. Like I said, disinformation is more of a control. Think of it as purposely not spreading truth to keep my group together, like I had said previously. So when I think of this, I think of cult leaders. Cult leaders will twist the truth just to make it seem right or profound when really it's not. Some other examples can include vicious rumors about college athletes or sinister conspiracies. So how do we know who to trust at this point? I just said, don't trust the people who look like you and be wary of your own tribe. Well, it's tricky. When we were kids, we were taught to believe everything that our parents said. Whoever said something different, we shunned them because we thought they were wrong. I don't think it's wrong to look at it this way, but it's important to research it. When I'm really into a topic, I'll start looking it up, and I'll find some things. One, all the URLs are .coolguy instead of .gov or .org. And also, this website looks like it was made in a basement. Naturally, this will cause my childlike state of mind to spiral. But this will also make me think, maybe this isn't true. Because media literacy teaches truth, we now have the ability to answer every question at our fingertips, whether analytical or philosophical or anything. Now, as I come to a close, there's a few things I want to touch on. One, media literacy is like bringing a gun to a knife fight. You're prepared and you not get dragged down by the noise of your tribe. Because of your literacy, you now have the power to question. Not having skills like this is detrimental in the society we live in today, where we're closer and closer to the companion in our pockets. Mis and disinformation play a huge role in this. If we don't know, then we're likely to get tricked, and we're likely to not ever learn the truth. So I never really answered the question, what makes a media literate person? A media literate person will learn to question anything and everything that's brought in front of them. So trust me, I'm a scientist. I know these things. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Another round of applause for Dorian.
Yes.
I did not realize that we had definitions for all these things. There are really people out there making up information and presenting it like it's fact.
Oh yeah, T. And a lot of the time, these people do it just on accident or happenstance, but there are times that they purposefully put this information out there or misinformation out there.
You mean they choose to deceive people?
Mm-hmm.
Why would they do that, Z?
I don't know, T, but that could never be us. But anyway, let us get to our second speaker tonight. Who is our second speaker? Oh, wait, no, it is Luca. Excuse me. We will be getting to our second speaker who will be talking about AI and how it can be deceptive.
Guys, this is serious. I mean, studies show that AI is about to take over everything, including our brains.
Well, wait, what? I think you might need to check your facts on that one, T. I mean, yes, AI can be a very scary thing because it is new, but Luca Borelli over here is going to inform us on kind of, the understanding of AI and media literacy. He is a computer science major,
He's also in the marching band.
Mm-hmm.
The reason he's in the marching band is that he's from Washington, Illinois,
mm-hmm.
which is named after George Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And George Washington was actually in the world's first marching band.
I'm just gonna stop you right there, T. We don't have time to get into that, but Luca Borelli, y'all. Luca Borelli.
Hello, hello.
Thank you. Alrighty, so as mentioned, I am a computer science major here at the SIUC, and being in that major, I'm interested in a lot of technological advancements and progressiveness throughout the world. And one of those, very clearly, as many of you probably have heard, is AI development, perhaps through ChatGPT or AI-generated imagery. But the media has kind of bastardized AI technology. I mean, look at this headline. Extinction risk from AI on the same scale as nuclear war. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds an awful lot like the movie Terminator. But let's take an actual, real headline of where AI is at today. Facebook's new AI sticker tool generates completely unhinged images. I mean, I don't know what that looks like to you, but to me that looks like Elon Musk making out with a dog. This really showcases where we're at with AI technologies today and why it really is kind of not as scary as you quite think. But the ability that AI has to trick us is very real. With deepfake technologies and tools such as ChatGPT, people can easily trick us into believing whatever they want us to believe. Deepfake technology is a technology that is being used, that is progressively being adapted to be able to be used by anyone and everyone throughout the world. There have already been instances of people using AI technologies, perhaps in movie productions, like in The Mandalorian, where Luke Skywalker comes back after 40 years of not being seen on screen in his young era, or perhaps other people coming back from the dead. However, these deepfake technologies have a flaw in them. Many of you perhaps have heard of something called the uncanny valley, which is the ability that the human mind has to sort of tell whether or not something is really human or not. Now, to showcase this ability, I have someone, oops, sorry, that was not supposed to, there we go. This is Jimmy. Jimmy's more well known as Mr. Beast on YouTube. Now, some of you may have heard him as someone who is very popular on YouTube for giving away very large sums of cash prizes and expensive things like Ferraris or even an entire luxury private jet. Yes, that is a real video he did, and he gave away that jet to someone. Now, this video started circulating around the internet on TikTok specifically a few months ago, where it was a deep fake video of Mr. Beast proclaiming that he had 10,000 people to give an iPhone 15 to for just $2. Now, most of us will probably be able to tell that this is in fact a scam ad. But for those of us that don't know about deepfake technologies, it's a little bit harder to discern. I mean, look at this image. It really does look like Mr. Beast in the flesh. But that's just because this is a still pulled from that fake video. This is a repeated loop of that video over and over again. Now, if you were to closely watch this video with the actual audio, something in your brain would tell you this isn't a real human being. I mean, if you look at the lips moving with the eyes when the head moves, it doesn't quite match up. That's because that's the way that deepfake technology is being used. The way that deepfake technology is used is that it takes thousands of pictures and videos of someone in real life scenarios to be able to recreate them in any scenario that you wish to be created. The only thing that's needed is someone to be in the place of where the actor would be. The AI replaces the face of the actor and then generates the entire video and even has the ability to replicate someone's voice with these artifacts. Now, someone used this technology to make the scam ad offering 10,000 people an iPhone 15 for just $2. Now, this is very much a problem, as perhaps a kid with their mom's credit card thought, I want to buy my mom or themselves a little nice, something nice for Christmas. And so they go ahead and take their credit card, and all of a sudden, mom's credit card bill is much higher than it used to be, and they are in a lot of very serious trouble. So that's something on the personal side, but let's take a look on the political side of things. Back in March, a very certain ex-president of the United States was indicted on a couple charges. Now, a lot of people have very strong feelings about him, but the fact of the matter is that he was arrested and he was indicted. But there were no official photos of this arrest or indictment taking place. But that didn't stop people from creating very fake images of our ex-president running away from the police. And if you were like me, when you first saw these pictures, you perhaps got a little too excited at this and decided not to look at the fact that the ties on Mr. Donald Trump here don't match up, or the fact that the number of police changes drastically, or the fact that you can't even tell where the police are from. That's because these images, very clearly stated here, are fake. These were created using AI-generated images to sort of push someone's political agenda of perhaps showing Donald Trump being afraid to be arrested, or him trying to run away from the police. Granted, I don't think he would have gotten very far. But those are not the only images. Here, you can see him being held down by the police, or here, him screaming like a giant baby. But if you were to closely look at these pictures, you can see Donald Trump doesn't have a baton and a belt of weaponry on him, or the fact that, I know it's kind of hard to see, but a leg isn't supposed to bend that way. Or maybe this random arm of someone who isn't in the picture just sort of appearing. These kinds of pictures can be used to push a political agenda onto someone who perhaps is looking for something to hate on, or perhaps genuinely doesn't know what's going on and see these pictures and believe it to be true and can be swayed one way or another. This is a massive problem that we are facing today and needs to be at least somewhat regulated or looked out for. Now, imagery and audio is not the only thing that is a problem in our media. Another huge problem is ChatGPT. Now, teachers have already gotten a whole brunt of the problem with ChatGPT, with students using it to write their papers for them because they're too lazy. I may have used it once. It was a B grade. It's not my proudest moment, but I had a lot of other deadlines to worry about, okay? But still, everyone has the ability to use ChatGPT for their own uses to do whatever they want with. Maybe an editor doesn't have time to really look over a piece or to write a whole piece, and so they just write in a headline that they want to be written about along with the important pieces of the case or piece that they're writing about, and all of a sudden ChatGPT will have an entire blog post stated for them, and they say it'll be written by them, but in reality it's written by an AI tool. Or even worse, someone with a law degree will use this ability to try and sway a case. This is a real headline of something that actually happened in the real world. A lawyer tried to use ChatGPT to write a case law to sway his case into his favor, and was caught and was $5,000. Now, to me, that seems a little cheap on the side of trying to federally make up a case, but that's my take on it. But this just is the tip of the iceberg of what AI writing tools are capable of. I mean, think about it. ChatGPT has the unique ability, let's say, to do something called hallucinate. Now, for those of you that have no idea what a hallucination is in the world of AI, Sai Athaluri, in her book, in her post where she writes about AI usage in the media, in her paper, describes AI hallucination as AI hallucination is a phenomenon where AI generates a convincing but completely made up answer. Now, to put this in perspective, let's say a student does use ChatGPT to write their paper on some scientific claim, right? Perhaps they're using it to write a thesis or something like that. ChatGPT can completely make up a source and say that it is a valid and true source without any basis to that claim. ChatGPT could convince you that the sky is not blue. Now, if you walk outside, perhaps not right now, it's a bit too late for that right now, perhaps it's too dark, but if you walk out in the middle of the day, the sky is very blue. Science dictates that the sky must be blue because of the way that wavelengths travel through air and hit our eyes with ultraviolet light. But ChatGPT can create a source saying the sky isn't blue, it's green, it's blue, it's red, whatever it may believe, and fully believe that and say that it is a scientific-based claim. So, where does that leave us with AI technology? I know after this speech, you may believe that there's no hope for us, but there is. Just as AI can be used to deceive us, it can be used to help us. People are developing to this day AI algorithms that are used to scan through documents like this or AI imagery, Photoshop imagery as well, to detect whether or not something is true or false. Now, albeit this technology is not perfect, you could stick in, let's say, the Constitution of the United States into one of these algorithms, and if the algorithm isn't written correctly, it'll tell you that the Constitution, which this country is very much founded on, is not a real thing, that it is something written by an AI algorithm. So what is the answer? Well, there isn't really one hard answer quite yet. As AI develops, so do the solutions. So how can you protect yourself against it? Well, for one, checking the author and the sources of whatever you may be reading. If it seems a little fishy, you can do a simple Google search and find out whether or not this person really exists, or check the sources out. You can also just do your own research on AI. I cannot tell you all of the depth and complexity that is AI with a 10-minute speech. There's a lot to handle. I did 5 hours of research for this speech alone, and that was because I had to. I've probably done countless more hours on my own doing, just looking through news articles of where AI is today and where it's going. So please remember to check your sources, check your authors, and make sure to look real hard at the next image you look at, because there may be a chance that it's not real and it's generated by AI. Thank you.
That was really great, Luca. He is smarter than 94% of the people that I know.
Wow, that's actually a really good statistic.
Thank you. It's from a good source.
So T, you ever thought if maybe Luca was an android?
He seems real to me.
I mean, yeah, but like, isn't that the point though? I mean, for real, guys, like if we really were to break this down, the foliage out there, is that actually real? Is that tangible? The trees outside on campus, is that real? Are birds actually real? Or are they just spies sent by the surveillance sector of our government to keep tabs on everyone?
That seems like a conspiracy theory to me, Zoe.
Well, maybe, but also you don't know either.
Okay, well, let's go with our next speaker, Isabel Hamilton. She's going to talk to us about conspiracy theories.
That makes no sense.
No, of course it does. Isabel is a first-year student studying dental hygiene. She auditioned for the speakers forum with a really well-researched speech about conspiracy theories, and the panel of judges chose her to be a finalist.
Okay, but did you actually check the background of the judges? Like, did you really do like a whole like background check on them? Because you never know. They could be sent from the reptilians to spy on graduate programs across the nation.
Zoe, I was at the auditions.
Look, okay.
Isabel, she's literally right there.
Uh-huh.
She's registered here at SIU. She's a student right there. She is. She's waving.
Well, look, we can fight about this afterwards. We can fight about it afterwards, but y'all, I'm so sorry. Please give a hand to Isabel. Take it away, Isabel.
It's November. Is this working? Nothing's working.
It's a conspiracy. There's a red button blinking on this, so I have a feeling.
It's being recorded?
I have a feeling that it's not working properly.
Oh, okay. I was just a project.
So in that case, and if you can be loud, and if you want to be louder, you can just come over here and kind of wave your face around this.
Right, I'm going to project.
Sorry about that.
It's November. That means Thanksgiving is coming up pretty quickly, and I'm sure we can all think of that one family member that will not hesitate to tell you about their newfound belief. We're going to call this family member Uncle Alan. Uncle Alan tells you that Lindsay Lohan has a secret twin, You need to wear an aluminum foil hat to keep yourself from the radio waves aliens are sending you. And you can't go on your next vacation because it's a cruise and it's going to go through the Bermuda Triangle. So, you're going to go missing. These would all be considered conspiracy theories. But why are they so effective? Conspiracy theories rely on misinformation and disinformation. According to Harvard University, misinformation is the spreading of false information, while disinformation is the creation and distribution of intentionally false information, usually for political ends. Conspiracy theories are something that have existed since the beginning of time, even before they have their name. But they can lead you down the dark path of life. For example, did you know there's a population in Britain that thinks the accounts of the Nazi Holocaust are fake? In Michael Shermer's book, Conspiracy: Why the Rational Believe the Irrational, he discusses that 2% believe that the official account of the Nazi Holocaust is a lie. That is the equivalent of around 1,125,718 people. Conspiracy theories come from the human need to have an explanation for events, especially if they're tragic or impactful. However, these ideas rid the need for facts based on evidence as well as truth. It's hard to believe that someone that thinks the moon landing was fake could pose a danger to themselves and others, but that is exactly the case. There are too many conspiracies in our modern world to be able to keep. Okay, there you go. Okay. There's too many conspiracies in our modern world to be able to keep track of, which would allow for easy contradictions. But it's hard to believe that one person could believe in both sides of an argument. That's exactly the case. In Michael Shermer's book, he discusses a study where the participants who believed that Princess Diana faked her death were also more likely to say that she was murdered. As you can see from the statistic up there, there's 21% who say they don't know if it was an accident or was not an accident. That is the part in which contradictions would lie. But the same is true for Osama bin Laden, in which the people who were more likely to say that he was already dead when the U.S. Special Forces attacked his compound in Pakistan were also more likely to believe he was still alive somewhere. In this image here, you can see there's text under it. If you didn't read it, I'll give you the rundown. Essentially, it's saying that because the U.S. government didn't release any information or DNA or an autopsy of his death, that means that we can't fully trust them on whether or not he's dead. The last line being, you'll just have to trust the government on this one. While it's not explicitly saying, oh yeah, Osama bin Laden's just roaming the streets somewhere, it's heavily implying it, as well as leaning into the conspiracy theory that he's still alive somewhere. Now, the whole idea of someone believing in both sides of an argument seems highly unlikely and almost improbable. It's actually very easy because these people often have proxy conspiratism. These people often have a very strong distrust in government or social institutions of any kind. So they will make their own ideas or believe in someone else's, which would make way for easy contradictions. Conspiracy theories also can cause oh my gosh. Okay, conspiracy theories will also cause a lot of problems between two groups of people. They can make us act without thinking or create harmful stereotypes. In the book Conspiracy Theories and the People Who Believe Them, written by Joseph E. Uskinski, he discusses that in a 2012 study about a group of Malaysian people asked about Jewish conspiracy theories, namely that they were establishing a sneaking government, often held anti-Israeli as well as anti-Jewish beliefs. According to a Cambridge University article written by Karen M. Douglas, she pointed out that conspiracy theories may therefore reinforce an us versus them dichotomy, further reinforcing tensions between groups. Conspiracy theories also rely on confirmation bias. According to the American Psychologists Association, confirmation bias is a tendency to look for information that supports rather than rejects one's preconceptions, typically by interpreting evidence to confirm existing beliefs while rejecting or ignoring any conflicting data. This comes from this causes people to only think inside their blocks without looking at the idea from someone else's perspective, making both sides only tolerate their beliefs and completely not tolerate anyone else's.
Along with that, because of the climate we're in, it's very easy for us to hear someone else's belief, but to write it off as a conspiracy theory because it takes a lot less time and effort to do that than to do research into what someone else has said. As you can see on the screen, there are two different memes. Memes are supposed to be something that are lighthearted and fun for you to look at every once in a while. However, they tell two conflicting beliefs. If a pro-conspiracy theorist saw the anti-conspiracy theory meme, they'd get pretty mad at it, and they might even go on a tirade explaining why they're completely wrong. The same would go for the pro-conspiracy theory meme if an anti-conspiracy theory person saw it, turning something that's supposed to be lighthearted and fun into something that creates a rift between two people. However, one may argue that conspiracy theories are not at all negative. Not only are they a fun activity for some people to do every once in a while, but they also hold some benefits. According to Joseph Uskinski, conspiracy theories can foster a healthy skepticism in the public. Conspiracy theories can bring new information to light. They help the powerless feel powerful, and they can make change what needs to be changed. Not only that, but there's also the thought in people's heads that their theory could be proven true one day, as many of the things we know as fact now were once theory. Take, for an example, Watergate. Nixon being connected to Watergate was originally just a theory that some people had but were too scared to talk about. That was until Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward published their article connecting Nixon to Watergate, changing that theory to fact. These are two newspapers. One saying Nixon won't resign, and one saying Nixon resigns. The first one being when information first started coming out, but the public would refuse to believe it. They refused to believe that the US government could do anything like that. However, more and more information came out, and Nixon ended up having to resign because it became proven that he was a part of it and nobody could deny it. And while these arguments do sound logical, they can lead us down a path of justifying even the worst conspiracy theories for the sake that, oh, it's making the powerless feel powerful, or it could be proven true one day. This is a case of the bad outweighing the good. There are many different ways that people approach fixing the problem of conspiracy theories, but what's the best way to go about it? The overall best way would be to talk to people, but there's a wrong way and a right way to do that. The wrong way would be to yell at the person or patronize them for believing in the theory. That's only going to cause them to shut down and be less susceptible to listening to what you're saying. You also want to do research into the information that they are believing. According to Michael Shermer, this shows respect and an assumption of the best intentions on your part. This also signals to the other person that you're listening to what's being presented. So the next time Uncle Alan says Lindsay Lohan has a secret twin, don't call him stupid for believing that. Instead, explain to him that despite the fact that the movie he's talking about came out in 1998, technology was starting to improve. And not only that, but she also had a body double, which made the scenes much more convincing. Another way would be to focus on prevention. If you're someone who is weary about what you read on the internet, or you're scared that you could start believing in a theory, prevention would be a good thing to look into. According to Stephanie Pappas, who was a freelance science journalist writing for Scientific American, she claims that the best strategies seem to involve helping people recognize unreliable information and untrustworthy sources before they're exposed to a specific belief. There are things you can look for, like the facts behind the claim, what the claim is saying, and does the claim fit into the way the world works, along with many more steps. So, for example, the next time you read that you're going to go missing the next time you take a cruise through the Bermuda Triangle, keep in mind these few facts. Number one, that area has a lot of hurricanes. Number two, the geographic North Pole does not match up with the with the magnetic North Pole, which messes up with compasses. And also just the fact that you're sailing through an ocean and oceans are unreliable. Also, the article that made that theory came out in 1964, and it talked about the disappearance connected to the Bermuda Triangle, but didn't give any evidence that connected it or explained it. Overall, conspiracy theories are an understandable fact of life. However, this does not make them any less impactful. Like any belief, there are going to be extremists who give the belief a bad name. However, in the case of conspiracy theories, it's a lot easier to fall for the bad beliefs.
I believe that we need to research conspiracy theories and find the bad parts of them before we all get too deep in our own opinions.
Beautiful, beautiful job.
You handled that really well.
Fabulously.
Wouldn't you say that?
Fabulously, yes. That was amazing, Isabel. And that's a little scary too.
And having technological problems and not freaking out. Way to go. Stellar human being.
But yeah, while it is really, really cool though, it's a little scary. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I don't really know what to believe anymore.
Right? I mean, if I'm being honest, y'all, I sometimes feel like I'm not really even a real person.
No, you're a real person, Zoe.
Oh, no, not like that. But I mean, like online, like the presentation of self and kind of the performance of self, it feels like when I'm online, I either have to become something else or else the internet makes me into that something else.
Anthony Mutri, he's our next speaker. He has a lot to say about what social media does to people, how it can mislead us about people, and that it can actually hurt people in the process.
Oh my gosh, that's so real.
Yeah, he's got a lot of important things to say.
Ooh.
He's a transfer student and a student athlete. He's majoring in sports administration, wants to be an athletic director. He's from Flossmoor, Illinois. His mother went to SIU too. Hi, Mom.
Oh, wow. I'm interested already.
Yeah. So here's Anthony Mutri to talk to us about student athletes and social media. Is your mic working?
Wait a minute. A couple seconds. Oh, yep, there we go. All right. Good evening, everybody. So I'm here to talk about athletes and media relations. This is important because, as the previous speakers mentioned, everyone has a confirmation bias. Everyone has some theory that they believe in, and some of these theories can be harmful. So to kind of sell that point, I'd like to introduce you to an athlete. This athlete is a 7-time Olympic medalist, a 30-time world champion, and is one of the only athletes in the history of athletics to completely change the trajectory of their sport. This athlete is one of the greatest athletes of all time. But this athlete was also called a selfish, childish national embarrassment by their state's attorney general. The athlete I'm talking about is the great Simone Biles. Now, Simone Biles has dealt with a lot in her life, no doubt. One of them is reaching national stage at 13. She competed for the US in 2013 at 16 years old. Imagine being a high school sophomore and having the pressure of not only your country, but your community, your teachers, your family, everyone you've ever known, and people you don't even know exist, expect you to do great. She's carried all that and more. But unfortunately, she also had to deal with the monster known as Larry Nassar. He is let me see if I had this right. He's a convicted sex offender, a serial child molester, and a disgraced former United States team doctor. And I would like to say that sexual violence of any kind is completely unacceptable, and it's an extremely personal thing to go through. You feel attacked, you're questioning why it happened to you, and dealing with all this I don't want to dampen down anyone else's life, but dealing with this as a professional gymnast whose sport is based on perfection, and you have to go through these routines over and over and over again, you have to trust everyone around you. It's extremely hard, especially when you're competing on the world stage with everyone looking at you. So Biles and hundreds of other women had to deal with him, unfortunately. And he was indicted in 2016, arrested in 2018, and this made national news for years. And it's rough. It's an unfortunate thing that it happened to everyone that it happened to. And having your trauma blast on national airways is not a good thing for anyone to deal with. And Simone pushed past this. Credit to her, she found a way to move on. And she competed for the Olympics in 2021. This bout it didn't start as she wanted, and she dealt with a lot of mental health issues, and she ended up withdrawing her name from the Olympics. This drew criticism from everyone. Well, not everyone. There are certain media members that had genuine concern with her, which is great. But there were also certain media members that took this as an opportunity to just completely act like she has nothing worth. And this was seen with Piers Morgan when he said, "Sorry, Simone Biles, but there's nothing heroic or brave about quitting because you're not having fun." This was in response to a comment that Simone Biles made when she said that she stepped down because she was dealing with mental health issues and twisties. This, she said, stemmed from everything she was going through, and also twisties are a gymnastic term that's said it basically means that you can't go through your emotions, which is dangerous because you're flipping in the air multiple times and you could like easily mess up and land on your neck and you're done. Not just for your career, but that could be life ending. And this question is very important. Is that a fact? Is it a fact that she is a selfish, childish national embarrassment? No, that's not a fact. It's not wrong to put yourself first. You need to, because when everyone's looking at you, they're looking at you for you. They're expecting something out of you. But if you are no longer able to find that in yourself, it's time for you to step away and focus on yourself. It's great to have yourself as a priority. And college athletes have a big problem with that now, because it's happening a lot now that there are public records of NIL deals. This is name, image, and likeness, and before these deals were allowed, athletes could not profit off of their name, image, or likeness, meaning that a university could theoretically sell jerseys with your last name on it and you not see a dime from it. You're playing on national TV and not seeing a dime of media revenue or anything. All of this goes directly to the university. And the coaches are making money, the athletic directors are making money, everybody's making money except for the athlete. That recently changed, and I'm extremely grateful for that. But then also, this came with some media issues as well. Because along with that, the NCAA also changed the transfer portal rules. This transfer portal is something that athletes can put their name into if they want to change schools. Now, there are many reasons for this. Some only do it because they want a change of scenery. Some do it because they changed their major. Some do it because they don't feel supported by their coaches. There could be a whole host of reasons, but it's important to recognize that the media does not always know this information. They will put their own theories onto what they think happened and then blast that as fact. This is seen no other better than the Sports Illustrated article I read the other day, and they interviewed West Virginia University's baseball head coach. And he said, these days, if you don't play these young, talented freshmen enough, they just go right into the portal. That does a few things. That paints athletes as selfish and that they're only looking out for themselves, which is not the case. A lot of athletes just want to change of scenery. Like, it could be the simplest thing, or it could be something that has nothing to do with athletics. That's possible. But then also the author of this article, and I don't want to say his name because I don't want to butcher it. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name. So he's quoted as saying, the biggest issue with the transfer portal is that there are no restrictions. Heck, your starting quarterback could pop his name in the portal a month before the season starts, and the coaching staff does not have enough time to fill that player spot. Now, as we've seen with Simone Biles, as I previously explained, do you think that this is a fact? Let's find out. So here is the transfer portal windows. This season right here is the season he's talking about. So he said you could leave a month before the season starts. College football starts pretty much at the time that the school year starts. And as you can see right here, football, the portal, didn't open until December for FBS schools and November 21st, late November for FCS schools. Is that a month before the season? No. And for this year, they've shortened the window for FCS schools, and it now starts December 4th. That is also not the beginning of the season. And it is extremely important that, especially when you are looking at criticisms of athletes, especially when we're dealing with college athletes that typically do not have as much of a say as professional athletes, you need to look at everything with a keen eye. You need to make sure that what is being presented is a fact, because as you've seen, people from Sports Illustrated, this is a very credible source. This is like people that make real money just said and just lied. Like, that's not okay. So my sort of call to action for this speech is to, one, I don't want anyone to like have complete skepticism for the media or to attack any media members in any way. That's not what I'm proposing. What I would like you to do is to first find and see if this source is biased. The source is biased, find out in which way. Are they speaking to an athletic director? Are they like being paid by a league? Are they like for ESPN, for example, they broadcast NBA games, MLB games, NFL games. So they have $1 billion deal going between the two. That could be a bias. And with those biases, you also need to examine if the source would actually like reputably know this information. Does Sports Illustrated know the details of every single athlete that is transferred? No. Is it possible that they know the details of some athletes that have transferred? Sure. But as we've seen, they just flat out lied about something that was public record. So it's a problem. But you need to do your own research and make sure that everything that is being presented to you is fact. And this has been an issue for college athletics for a while. It's not going to change today. It's not going to change tomorrow. It's not going to change next week. But if we can start small by looking at small things like this and not in doing simple things like not calling college athletes kids, these can all help change the scope of how everything is run, and it will change people's outlooks. And yes, that's it.
Fabulous.
That was great. What an insightful speech. Goes to show you can't always believe what you read online, what you hear. We got to remember that jumping to conclusions or believing hearsay won't help us discover what's true.
That is very true. And we probably should be more suspicious of AI or theories that have no evidence or media posts that's just posted by somebody on Twitter, or really looking at athletic figures as just figures and not people. And it's also actually, it's kind of hard to figure out these things with all of this information circling the net.
Which is why we should never assume and always get curious. Mm-hmm. It's like on social media when the algorithm just feeds us what we already believe and what we want to see based on our own interests.
Wait, that's Blessing's speech, isn't it?
Yeah. Blessing Smithley is our closing speaker tonight. She's a junior honors student at SIU studying psychology who loves to spend time with friends and family, working out or playing the piano. Mm-hmm. Aren't you going to ask me if that's really true?
No.
Oh.
I believe you.
Weird. Okay. That's the spirit. Blessing Smithley, everyone. Please give her a warm welcome.
Hello, everyone. So before we begin, I'm going to start off with a few quick commonly believed statements that are either going to be myths or facts. And I want all of you to try and guess the right answer. So the first one is that maybe not. Okay, the first one is that lightning never strikes the same place twice. What do you guys think? Is this a myth or is it a fact? All right, I heard some facts, some myths. So this is actually a myth. Lightning can and does strike the same place multiple times, including tall structures. So the next one is that the color red makes bulls mad. So it's a myth. That's the correct answer. So bulls are actually colorblind to the color red. It's thought instead that the waving motion of the matador's cape is what actually upsets the bulls. So while believing either of these two myths won't typically harm you in your everyday life, not all misinformation is so lighthearted. Today, I'm going to be covering some of the real harms of misinformation and discuss a few media literacy strategies to help you avoid being misled. I'm going to focus specifically on how misinformation is spread through digital algorithms. While algorithms can be a tricky and potentially dangerous thing, there are strategies and techniques that can help you safely navigate through them in the digital age. So, what is an algorithm? In layman's terms, an algorithm, specifically for social media, can be described as a compilation of rules and data that makes decisions about what users want to see on the platform. Social media sites create unique algorithms for every person who uses a site, which means no two people will have the exact same social media newsfeed. There are many ways algorithms influence your everyday life, whether or not you realize it. Algorithms are fundamental in things like content curation, search engines, ad targeting, etc. While they can be useful in many ways, they can also be cause for concern in certain aspects regarding biases and the spread of misinformation. Algorithms can have major impacts on an individual's information consumption. They aim to personalize their content for their users. This is done by analyzing various aspects of a user's behavioral patterns and data, such as their past interactions, their browsing history, and their demographic info. Algorithms analyze and utilize user data to keep recommending you stuff that you'll want to see. The goal of algorithms is to keep users online. The goal of algorithms is to use the collected data to customize a user's online experience and keep them engaged and interested. When content is personalized to each individual's interest, it often will prioritize the content that already aligns with the user's pre-existing beliefs and perspectives. Social psychologist William Brady states, as humans naturally learn more from their in-groups and prestigious individuals, algorithms capitalize on this, pushing information that feeds these biases, regardless of its accuracy. Now, it's important to remember that algorithms are designed to keep users engaged. Presenting users with content that disagrees with or challenges their perspectives may lead to negative reactions or disengagement. When algorithms personalize the content for users, this can potentially create something called a filter bubble. A filter bubble is what occurs when algorithms are so personalized they effectively only show the content that aligns with and confirms a user's pre-existing perspectives. And this may isolate the user from diverse or contradictory perspectives. There are several negative consequences involved with filter bubbles. The first is that users often get trapped in something called an echo chamber, where they're only exposed to information and opinions that reinforce their own. This can lead to polarization in things like political views, ideology, etc. Algorithms can also inadvertently promote the spread of misinformation. The goal of algorithms is centered on engagement. Thus, they tend to favor the content that'll receive more likes, more comments, more shares, etc. This sort of content might tend to focus on things that are sensational, controversial, or emotionally charged. It's not uncommon for misinformation to employ tactics such as these to grab our users' attention and increase engagement. This can make misinformation more likely to be promoted by algorithms. Unchecked by diverse perspectives, misinformation can spread rapidly within one's social network. Senior campaigner Brandy Gherking states, research has demonstrated how this system can give people their own private addictive experience that can easily become filled with conspiracy theories, health misinformation, and political disinformation. Now, after reviewing some of the potential risks of algorithms, it is clear why media literacy and critical thinking are so crucial in the digital age. If you want to make informed decisions and be able to discern reliable information from misinformation, there are a few strategies and techniques that can be utilized. I'm going to cover a few of these strategies now to help you stay safe and think critically while navigating through the world of social media and algorithms. The first strategy is to diversify your sources. Now, this one might be a little bit more obvious, but it's still very important. Actively seeking out news and information from a variety of sources can help prevent those echo chambers. Journalist Victoria McGibbon said, from listening to more than one source, you can create opinions with all the information available, not just the information provided by a potentially biased source. This applies to everything that informs our own personal outlooks on life, whether it's political, religious, or anything in between. Having a variety of sources can help you decide who you want to vote for, what your values are, and what you consider fact. Another strategy is to utilize the privacy settings on your devices. This can be done in a variety of ways. Regularly clearing the cookies and browsing history will help reduce the amount of personal data collected by algorithms. Additionally, you can also review and adjust the privacy settings on most of your social media platforms. This will help reduce the impact of strictly personalized content and those potential consequences that we talked about, such as polarization, filter bubbles, echo chambers, etc. The third and final strategy I have for you guys is to simply be aware. Now, it is so important to know how algorithms work. Staying informed on the influence and the potential dangers of algorithms can help you to remain a critical consumer of online content. So, in conclusion, these are a few practical tips for you all to help combat the biases and misinformation involved with algorithms. I only covered 3 strategies today, but there are so many more resources out there. I want to encourage you all to stay informed and practice media literacy, even when you're just scrolling through social media during your everyday life. I created this QR code for you guys, so feel free to pull out your phones and scan it now. It's going to take you to a website focused on promoting media literacy. It's a fantastic site full of additional info and interactive content. And I want to recommend you all to bookmark the site and check it out when you get some free time. Algorithms permeate almost every aspect of our digital existence. No matter what, whether you're interacting with algorithms, conspiracy theories, AI technology, or sports news, there are a variety of strategies and techniques that everyone should be familiar with to help identify misinformation and practice media literacy.
Great job. That was amazing. Can all 5 of you come up here?
Yes, please. Well, y'all,
Joanne,
please now give a warm, warm hand to our speakers. Isabel, Anthony, Blessing, Dorian, Luca. I know y'all are having tons and tons of fun, but sadly we have run out of time. Thank y'all so much for being here. Please direct any questions you might have to our speakers personally right after the session.
They, in addition to being very busy people, this is just an extra thing they did. So they did really well. I'm really proud to know all of you. And if you're, just a couple logistical things, if you're here from your 101 class, see this person sitting right here, that person here, he'll be out front, that's Jesse, and he'll take your name down for extra credit in your class. And also, please, there's a giant buffet out there from Tostados, which is for everybody here.
We're super excited.
And also, there will be another speakers forum in April, and in early March, we'll be releasing the topic and audition times, and you can be repeat performers if you want, but we'd also love some new people.
Yes, thank y'all so much again. And remember, think critically.
Thank you very much.